Good morning and welcome back to White Mountains Today here on White Mountain TV 16. Joining us here on the program is Dan Sczcesny, author Dan Sczcesny. How are you today, Dan?
Great, thanks for having me.
And, well, you're very welcome. Thank you. I'm glad you could come down today. You've got a lot of adventures coming up.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about a couple of the books you have, and we're also going to talk about a book you've got coming up.
Yes.
And the book you have coming up, The White Mountain, or 365 Days of Mischief and Adventure on Mount Washington.
Yes.
And what a great title. So let's talk about what your mischief and adventure is going to be on Mount Washington.
Well, my goal is to take a year off in 2017. From January 1 to December 31st, I'm going to try to participate and take part in everything that happens on Mount Washington, from staying up at the observatory and cooking for the folks up there. And I'm a terrible cook, so I hope that they'll survive.
Apologize to those people
right, ahead of time.
Yeah.
And to shoveling coal on the cog, to taking part in the road race and the bicycle race, and just studying the cultural history of Mount Washington, and writing a compendium of the history of Mount Washington, of all the people and the things that happen up there over the course of a year.
Now, you and I were talking before that obviously there's a lot of books about Mount Washington,
Yep.
but they're pretty specific, and you're going to try to
do the whole
branch
thing.
it out.
Yeah, there's bookshelves and bookshelves of Mount Washington books, but most of them deal primarily with an aspect of the mountain or the mountain range or the White Mountains, the women of Mount Washington, the weather of Mount Washington.
The disasters of Mount Washington, yeah.
Which is an excellent book, by the way.
Yeah.
The disasters of Mount Washington. And my goal is to present the whole piece in one book, and to do that by actually taking part in everything that happens up on top of
which is
Mount
awesome.
Washington.
And you were mentioning before, and I'm not the one who's going to point it out. You're not a 20-year-old, fit, buff, athletic guy.
I am not an ultra athlete. By any stretch of the imagination. No.
So you're going to be doing these things as an
regular guy.
Yeah, regular guy.
The conceit of the book is that I am just a normal hiker. I mean, I've done a lot of hiking, and I have some familiarity with the range and with the White Mountains. And I've hiked up Mount Washington many times, including in the winter. But I'm not, one of those hardcore trail runners, or I'm a middle-aged slubby guy who's a new family guy and a dad. And
yep.
And part of the fun of this, and I think in the adventure of this, is going to be seeing if I can do some of this
right.
stuff, and how to go about doing it. I can't run up the mountain, so what am I going to do? I don't know. Maybe I'll pick the oldest racer there, and I'll try to beat them.
Yeah, there you go. No tripping.
And maybe they'll give me a 2-hour head start for the bike race.
Yeah.
We'll see. But we're going to have fun with it, and I hope the book is going to be funny as well.
Well, that's great. I mean, there are so many things that go on Mount Washington too, and I think for a lot of people, they know let's call them the highlights, which we've just rattled off. But there are so many things that happen on a daily basis that you and I and a lot of other people are going, I don't know what goes on Mount Washington.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really neat to pull out some of those things.
Yeah, the unique stuff.
You mentioned about feeding the observers. They have volunteers who go up and stay for a week, feed the observers and any other guests who might be up there.
Yep.
I was up there on an edu trip one time, and had that. But a lot of people don't know that that's what happens up there. And what a neat experience. I mean, it's great for the observers, too, because they're getting different chefs every week and different food that everybody wants to say, I want to prepare my special food. So what a great thing for them.
Yeah, so hopefully my trip up there won't be memorably bad.
Yeah.
It'll be memorably mediocre. I hope that's where we'll fall on that line.
Yeah, when we talk to them a year later, well, the food was great except for
that 1 week. Yeah.
That's
the whole idea. Everybody knows. Obviously, everybody knows that there's the cog rail on one side and the auto road on the other side. But the amount of things that happen just in those two businesses. But then you add the AMC to it, and the observatory, and the weather center, and the Forest Service, and the AT, and all of these other things. There's literally dozens of events and dozens of ways, like you were saying earlier, ways to look at this mountain.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to try to encompass all of it, including the Guinness Book of World Records Day, the Weagle Day.
Yes.
And my goal for that, I'm going to take part in it. And once a year, a whole bunch of people get together and try to break some world record of doing something up the auto road. I'm going to dress like Walt Whitman and read poetry all the way up the road. So I'm going to need some lozenges and a lot of poetry.
That sounds awesome.
Right?
So really a great variety of things that,
Yes.
that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Now you're in the process of raising some money because
Yeah.
obviously there's going to be some expenses
Yep.
to do this, taking a year off
Yes.
and partaking. So how are you going about that?
We're actually right in the middle right now of an Indiegogo campaign, which is a crowdfunding, online crowdfunding
Yep.
campaign. We have a website up, and you can get to it through my own website, which is dansczesny.com. And the idea here is that over the course of this year, there's going to be travel expenses and food expenses and research expenses, and we're hoping, my publisher and I are hoping to defer some of those costs.
Yeah.
So, and what's awesome about the campaign, though, is that we have these incredible perks. You know, if you donate a certain amount, you don't just get a signed copy of the book, but you could get tickets to the Conway Scenic Railroad, or to a gym membership,
Great.
or to Tuckerman's Brewery, all that type of stuff. So we're trying to give back a little bit to the people who are going to support us.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's, well, you just mentioned Tuckerman Brewery. I mean, there's another connection
Right.
to the mountain.
Exactly.
Because, just from their photo and their name and
Yeah.
everything else. So.
Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff we're going to be looking at. So go to the website, go to my website, which is dansczesny.com, learn all about the book, and see what perks you're interested in.
Now, this, of course, is not your first book.
No, this will be my 5th book, actually. Yeah.
And so what are some of the other books you've written?
Primarily, 3 of the 4 have been narrative nonfiction. I'm primarily a travel writer by trade. The first book that I wrote was called The Adventures of Buffalo and Tough Cookie. And myself and my foster daughter, who was then 9 and 10 at the time, spent 1 year hiking in the White Mountains. We
Wow.
covered about 275 miles. We did one mountain a week for a year's time. And it was a memoir and sort of a bonding experience for me learning how to be a dad, her learning how to have a dad, that type of thing. My second book is the Nepal Chronicles, and I spent about a month and a half in Nepal. Well, I've spent more time there since, but the first time that I was there, I was married in Kathmandu, and for our honeymoon, we trekked to Mount Everest Base Camp, and we lived with the Sherpa. We were unguided and unportered, so we planned the whole trip by ourselves.
Yeah.
My third book is on Alaska. And I have a collection of short stories, and this will be number 5.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Dan, we wish you well.
Thank you so much.
And we hope that you will be able to come back and kind of fill us in. There's a tentative cover of the book.
Yeah. That's me hitchhiking, trying to get a ride from the COG. They did not pick me up.
They did not pick you up, but at least it started the whole process.
Right.
So it sounds like a lot of fun. So we're really looking forward to finding out. And if you want to help out Dan in any way, go to the website, dansczesny.com, and find out all about it. And now, are you going to post on there what some of your
we have a Facebook
events are gonna
page.
be?
We have a blog. You can join our Facebook page, which I think is just The White Mountain.
Yeah.
And we'll update pictures, and all along the way, the whole idea of I'm going to be doing this for a year.
Yeah.
So the idea is going to be that people are going to be able to keep track of how I'm doing, if I've survived.
Right.
or not.
Otherwise, it's a shorter book.
Right, and then it'll be a very short book. So yes, join our Facebook page. Go to the blog, go to my publisher's website, check out the perks, sign up, and just follow along. In fact, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm actually going to start posting some pictures today because I was up there yesterday with at the Summit Salute with a bunch of New Hampshire veterans.
Great.
And I have some great photos of that, so I'll be posting that later today.
Terrific. Well, it sounds like a great adventure.
It's going to be fun.
Good luck with that.
Thank you so much.
And we look forward to definitely even a year and a half from now, then we'll see the whole book, too.
Yep.
So Dan Sczcesny, thanks so much
Thank you
for
so
coming
much for
by
having
here.
me. I really appreciate it.
And we'll be back here in a minute on White Mountains Today.